In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 proven methods that are going to help you amass a fortune from your fitness business, and most importantly, allow you to live life on your terms. These methods have been trial tested on thousands of health and fitness entrepreneurs, and they've been responsible for building 6- and 7-figure fitness businesses. Let's get stuck in and talk about method 1. Method 1 is you need a flexible high-ticket offer. A high-ticket offer is essentially when you get paid in advance for your services. How much do you charge for a high ticket offer? It could be anything from 1K the whole way up to 5K. It really depends as to what you value your service at. Now, when you get paid in advance, it puts your business in a very strong position. If you've been a personal trainer or you've been an online coach and you haven't adopted a high ticket offer before, but you've been paid in advance by a client for maybe a year or a big block of sessions, you will know what it does for your psychology. It lifts you. It creates a strong amount of cash that you can use to buy things, you can use to reinvest in your business, and essentially grow. So here's the deal on how you structure a flexible high ticket offer. And I use the word flexible because nobody else is doing this. Everybody else that talks about high ticket offers simply just gives you a price and that's it. The reality is, when you just go with a price, people aren't going to be able to afford it. People are going to say no. People are going to say, I need to think about it. That's where the word flexible comes in. Flexible means that you've got different ways of presenting your offer based on the feedback that you get from somebody during a sales conversation. The first high ticket offer that you need is an upfront. Let's go with a really simple figure of 2K. 2K for 90 days of coaching. And that's framed as an activation period. Over this 90 days, we're going to build your plan, we're going to get you up and running, we're going to get you started. That 90 days is priced at 2K. If for some reason they can't afford it and you do all your objection handling, the next thing that you present is a split pay. That could be a split pay of 2 payments or 3 payments, depending on your market and the feedback that you get. Usually with those payments, you add a little bit of interest. If we take the offer of 2K, and let's say we add on 250 quid's worth of interests over each payment, and we do 2 payments. That means that each payment is 1,250. So at the end of 90 days, we collect 2,500. 500 quid of interest. The reason why we charge interest is because it's revenue at risk. We're not collecting it all up on day one. You have got a core offer that's cheaper and it incentivizes people to pay up front. The next offer, if somebody can't afford that, is usually framed along the lines of, I'd love to make this work, I really see value in the program, but I just can't afford. Here's what you say. Cool, I'd hate for money to get in the way between us working together. How about this? And then what you do is you get your upfront offer of 2K plus 3 months of what you would charge after the 90 days. Let's say you charge 250 quid per month. So 3 months of 250 quid would be 750 plus 2,000. So 6 months of value is worth 2,750. If we divide that by 6 to get 6 months of value, it works out at 458 and 33 pence. That's what it's going to essentially make you if a customer comes and joins for 6 months. And by the way, you should be keeping clients for at least 6 months. If you're not, your program's shit and you need to rebuild it. Let's add a bit of interest to that. If we take 458 plus 33, let's round it to, let's say 500, and we multiply 500 by 6. That means over the 6 months, we get 3K. If we look at taking away the 2,750, that means that we make 250 quid interest on that. Not a lot. You can most certainly charge a little bit more. You might even charge 550. Regardless, here's the point. Whenever you create that degree of flexibility, you then actually lower the bar for somebody to start. When you lower the bar for somebody to start, that means you can scale and take on more clients. Yes, it's a little bit inconvenient that you have to collect the payments over a longer period of time, but when it actually comes to making money in your business, stop thinking in weeks and months and think about years. The only number that matters is at the end of the year when you're sitting with your accountant and they say, hey, over the last year, you have made X. The months don't matter. So it takes a little bit longer to collect, but it allows you to collect more cash and get more people in. And the reality is, once they're inside your program, that's whenever they stay. You make your program that good that they don't want to leave. You've actually got these beautiful downsell options. And here's the deal. For all of you coaches that are still stuck in charging monthly reoccurring, you may as well present the upfront high ticket offer to your clients and then appropriately downsell if they can't afford it, to give your business the opportunity to collect more cash so that you can invest into the skills, invest into the team members, invest into the software to allow you to serve at a greater level and avoid you being the bottleneck at all points. You need money and profit to run a great service. If you're not making money, you can't invest in your service. You can't get out of the weeds, and you inevitably associate your business with pain and frustration. So having a flexible high ticket offer is critical. Method number 2 is having a sticky back end. Essentially, you want clients to come and join your program, stay, pay, and refer for a long period of time. The reason why they're going to do that is simple. They see future with you. They see value with you. Whenever a client leaves, it's because they can't see future. So you need to sit down and get very clear on one, what you're going to charge for your back end. It could be $250, it could be $500, it could be $800. That's a question for another day. But the more deliverables that you put into your back end, including how you plan for clients, the training you give them, the support you give them, and the team that you have that make all of that happen, it largely depends on the costs to run your business. But long story short, you should be mapping out a good 12 months from when they pay to 1 year in advance for when they're likely going to go and spread their wings and do something else. Now, ideally you want clients, in my opinion, to stay for at least 2 years because you've got all the seasons. You've got personal challenges throughout the year that can essentially derail them and reset their entire health and fitness effort. You ever work with a client for 12 weeks only for them to go away on holiday and to spoil it? You are needed in their life. And like I always say to gym owners, there should be home, work, and gym. Same with online coaches. There's home, work, and there's gym with your workouts and accountability. So essentially, you've got to frame your service as an insurance policy for your clients. Whenever they see it as an insurance policy and they realize that it's your duty to keep them lean and in shape and accountable year round, they don't want to lose that. You can't just go and train for 6 weeks, 12 weeks, and then all of a sudden know what you're doing. Your main focus as a coach is to keep your clients accountable 365 days a year. Give them the confidence to take a break. Give them the confidence to know that they can quickly get back into their regime, get back into working towards goals and bigger challenges. And that's where a back end comes in. So there are 5 components to a great back end. 1, the plan. When do you give a plan? At what point? The training and ongoing education that you give your clients so that they can self-educate and learn how to solve their own problems. That's the biggest gift that you can give clients is autonomy, accountability, support, and most importantly, community. How does all of that work? How do you give them accountability? How do you give them check-ins? How do you check in with them? How do you give them on-stock calls? And community, when do you run community events, community workouts to tie all of this together? Many of our clients run community events throughout the whole entire year. And guess what? When clients get together and train with like-minded people, they make friends, which creates this awesome level of value that coaches can't give on their own. It's outside of you. And that community mission-like feel is what's going to make you an absolute fortune. Method number 3 is creating an aspirational gap in your marketing. If you've studied marketing, you probably have heard about making yourself relatable to your target market. That's great. But what you need to know is that you actually need to create aspiration for them. You actually need to be really comfortable humbly bragging about why they should listen and follow you. Whether that's because you've been in shape year round, whether that's because you've overcome a life-threatening illness, depression, obesity, and turned yourself around, you need to be comfortable talking about that. And at the same time, if you run a successful business, talk about that too. They want to work with successful people. The goal is to relate to them, but also create a level of aspiration that actually creates this aspirational gap that creates curiosity, that creates desire for them to want to work with you and follow you. Whenever you communicate your life and what you do well and what you love and your challenges and everything else in between, and you can clearly show people that you've turned your chaos around into beautiful order, they want to follow that. So it's your duty to be comfortable, humbly bragging about your success and creating that aspirational gap. So think right now, what do the market not know about you that they should? This is something that we do with our clients all the time, and it reveals the most beautiful, distinctive story that gets people to relate to you and your style and how you like to work, and eventually creates buyer trust to the point when you put out a call to action, they want to work with you. Method number 4 is to start conversations. And the only way that you start conversations is by asking your audience questions. You can ask your audience questions at the end of long form copy, written copy, at the end of a video, at the end of a reel, or you can do it on your stories. There are various different ways to do that. But essentially, you want to ask a question that highlights that your market have a problem. So for example, on a very basic level, what do you struggle with more? Nutrition or training? If they click one of them, it's highlighted where they struggle. On the next story, let's say we're using Instagram stories, you could say, what are your goals? Fat loss or muscle building? Again, they're going to highlight what they're struggling with. On the next story, you could put a question box going, type fire emoji if you'd like some help. If you get 20 people that reply with that fire emoji and you start a conversation with all 20 and 10 of them book in for a call and you close 50% of them, and on average your customer stays for 6 months to 12 months, that is a lot of revenue. So you need to understand starting conversations is critical. Asking them what they're struggling with when it comes to topics of fat loss, muscle building, or the very special areas that you focus on coaching is critical. Very simple framework to open up a conversation. If somebody does comment or interact on your post, hey, Dave, thanks for interacting on my post. Love to know, what are you working towards right now and where are you stuck? Straight away, they're going to fill you in on everything that they're doing and why they're stuck. And that presents a very clear opportunity for you to go, would you like my help? And that creates a real opportunity for you to reply with, got it. Many of my best performing clients faced exactly the same issues. Would you like my help? And that's where you then go into conversations. The more conversations like that you can start, the more revenue you're going to make. Simple. Method number 5 is getting out of your own way and actually committing to building a team. Understand this. If you are a talented coach, you cannot impact the world to the level that you potentially could by doing it yourself. You cannot play to your strengths if you're doing everything yourself. The number one thing that's going to allow you to grow your business from where it is now to where you want it to grow is the team that you hire. The thinking and the quality of decisions that happens inside your business is the very thing that correlates to the level that you'll grow it to. Who do you hire? When do you hire? Here's a quick run through. The first thing that you should be hiring for is everything around marketing, graphic design, video editing, posting and scheduling. All of that stuff takes up a lot of time. You can probably do it, but you can hire it for very cheap. Number 2 is hiring another coach to help you inside your coaching program. Who do you hire? Why would another coach want to come and work with me? Here's the real deal. Running a fitness business is risky. A coach has to get clients, they have to sell clients, they have to deliver to clients, and quite frankly, it's an awful lot to juggle. Most coaches aren't great entrepreneurs. Most coaches are good coaches. So if you can get a coach that aligns with what you teach, that understands the subject, and is willing to give up some of their free time, delegate your programming, delegate your check-ins to that coach, and figure out what you would pay them. Whenever you go to pay them, look at it through the lens of buying your time back so that you're not doing 10 to 20 hours of check-ins every single week. If you're doing that every single week, then you are spread thin. Just imagine what you would do with the time that you bought back from scheduling posts, editing content, and doing mundane check-ins. The next level up from that is probably getting somebody to help you with your chats and conversations. Somebody inside your DMs to help reply and also help start conversations. Then we can go different levels up as you begin to scale your fitness business, where you can start hiring in people to close for you and do sales calls for you. But the way of the land is that you delegate out all elements of marketing first, and all you do is simply shoot the content and then it appears on your social media feed. 2, you get in a coach to help you with fulfillment. 3, you get somebody in to start conversations or reply to conversations inside your DMs. And 4, you eventually get somebody in to take your sales calls. Think about those roles. If you didn't have to do sales calls, didn't have to do client fulfillment as much as you are now, and didn't have to schedule and edit all your content, how much free time would you have and what would you do? You probably use it to create more content, which essentially drives more business, or you'd use it to spend time doing what you love, or maybe even going into another venture. The main goal as a fitness entrepreneur is to build a system that provides repeatable and consistent value to your customers, and almost like a guaranteed path to a result over and over and over again. It's predictable. That is your goal. If you took value from this, comment below with your biggest insight, but most importantly, the deadline that you plan to complete it. And by the way, whilst you're on this channel, there's a ton more videos that are going to educate you and inspire you to build a bigger, better business. Go and watch one of those next.